The Sisters Keeper Youth Basketball Organization took home yet another trophy after a big win this weekend.
Representing Canada, the Sisters Keeper.
Sisters Keeper.
Toronto's own Sisters Keeper Girls Youth Basketball Organization continues to dominate on the international stage.
We were undefeated in 3 years. We never lost a game on Canadian soil. We won back-to-back championships. We were on a high. We were successful. They were being recruited by every D1 school in the nation. And then COVID hit and shut it down. My name is Patrick Shaw. I'm the Director of Operations for Royal Crown. I'm the Executive Director of CAMDA. I'm the Executive Director of My Brothers and Sisters Keeper Youth Organization. I'm also the Chairperson of the Youth Coordinating Committee for the Black North Foundation, and I'm also the Community Liaison for Black Creek Health Clinic.
Patrick's almost like a magician. He always seems to be able to find a way to keep them engaged.
I love that about him, that he's able to go out in the community, not only to socialize with the basketball world, but socialize with other areas of the community.
Pat's definitely an ambassador for our communities. Motivates you, encourages you, supports you.
He makes you want to give, right? Yes. So he makes you want to just do more.
It's Patrick Shaw, he's that guy, you know?
My mom worked 2 jobs and went to school at the same time. She made our house the kind of community hub. Just coming over to eat breakfast in the morning, she had cereal for all my friends. You know, she made sure that they felt like that was part of their home. They called her mom, you know, so those type of things made me understand that, you know, that's how it's supposed to be. And then when I was in about, say, grade 7, she met my stepfather, who was an Army sergeant. So he came into my life and he had structure, and he had yes sir, no sir, like, you know, your shoes had to be lined up and your bed had to be, throw a quarter, it had to pop. Like, these are all the things he brought into the whole infrastructure that I was dealing with. So the community aspect mixed with the discipline to get to where you want to go is, you know, kind of how my DNA started in those early days. Cheyenne, you know, she's like a third cousin, but she's my daughter. Like, I had her from she was a little kid. So I said, "Do you want to do basketball?" She said yes. So we brung her around to all these basketball groups, and she ended up on the boys' team.
Yeah, I was playing on the boys' team, yeah. I was out playing some guys and getting more minutes than them, and then their parents just like, they're pissed, you know, because they're like, how they're making a girl come play and take on my son's minutes and stuff like that, but yeah.
The coach came to me at the end of the game. He's like, the parents, especially the mothers, are upset that she's doing better than their son on a boys' team. So I was like, for real? So I told her, and she was like, okay, I'll come off the bench. I said, no, you should never take a back seat to anybody. So I started to shop around and look for girls' team, but she was so good that any girl she faced, the parents started complaining. And, you know, I noticed there was a lot of kids like her who didn't have opportunity, female side. So I said, you know what, I want to start an organization that gives females the same opportunities, if not more, than the guys. So that's basically how it started. I come from the philosophy of that you don't leave anybody out. And my coaching staff, they get upset with me all the time, like, we have no more space, we have no more money. I'm like, we'll figure it out. So if they don't become great basketball players, they become great ambassadors for the program.
Sisters Keeper, honestly, it just meant love and family to me. And they were all my sisters. Like, they all became like blood sisters to me.
Man, when I tell you, the feeling was so great being on Sisters Keepers, like, everyone believed in me. Like, they would trust me with their life for sure. And that means a lot to me. And it's just wholesome. Over the years, we just been unstoppable, never lost in Canada. And we were like 30 and like, oh, at one point in time, it was like, yeah, it was really good.
They were being recruited by every D1 school in the nation. So we were going to Kobe's gym before he died. We were going to, you know, we're going everywhere. And then COVID hit and shut it down.
Across the world, governments are at high alert for a new virus.
The World Health Organization and Health Canada have now declared COVID-19 a global pandemic.
The government has closed all bars, gyms, schools, and shopping centers in an effort to stop the spread of the COVID-19 virus.
Stay-at-home orders are expected to last 2 weeks.
Streets, parks, and basketball courts remain eerily empty as the pandemic continues to surge.
The first little bit, it was like an apocalypse. Like it just felt like somebody just dropped a bomb and said, figure it out.
It was pretty emotional for like a majority of us. We didn't think COVID would just come out of nowhere.
That stuff makes you like not want to take anything for granted at all.
We had a couple of kids who were still in between, tweeners, and that year was very important for the next steps. So yeah, it was nerve-wracking. Even just talking about it now was like, it was tough. So when that shutdown was like, everybody was depressed. I was depressed because I'm like, damn, how do we work it? Because we couldn't travel. Tasha's mom worked in the homes for the aged. So she called me one day and she said, Pat, I just seen about 10 or 12 people die. They had the army at Tasha's mom's nursing home. She got COVID in week 1 and she was like, I don't want her to get COVID. I seen so much death. So I moved her in. And then Cheyenne's mom, she's like, can you find someplace for her to go for a little bit? So I moved her into my home too. All the basketball courts around my house had a garbage bag over them, or they just physically took them off. So I couldn't even let them go outside. You could just see these kids just dying inside, like just dying. They didn't know, they would stay up until 5, 6 in the morning and sleep all day. And I was like, that's not a process as a high-level athlete you want to do. For me, it was just finding out new ideas. So when public health changed the mandate, okay, you can't do this, okay, what do we need to do? And like I said, having a cheat code of working at the health clinic, I knew any federal mandate that came out right away. I knew before it happened. So we were already planning in the back stretches of how we can work it around. So it was just being ahead of the loop, being in the right places. Really, I'm being honest with you, there's no plan until it happens. I watched the NBA and the WNBA and all the pro leagues, and they were like, oh, we're going in a bubble. So I'm like, okay, so bubble. With my ability of knowing people from public health in the city of Toronto, I said, listen, I'm gonna put something together. Can we be the test pilot? They said, of course. I joined a group called the Black North Foundation. And on that foundation, Clorox made a commitment to give back to the underprivileged communities, and especially the Black communities. And then I met the representative and I explained to him all the things I did. And he said, this is what we do. So we will make sure that everything's safe. So I was like, how the heck do they clean that whole stadium, much less the bars? I said, you guys have any sprayers or anything like that? I see them do it in the NBA. And they sent me a picture of something. They're like, well, we can send you 2 of these right now. I'm like, okay, Clorox, I need this, I need that. These are the spaces I'm in. Let's start to pull the trigger. One of the big things with using the product was the turnaround time, where we would have to wait, 30 minutes, 45 minutes in transition. And being able to turn over every 10, 15 minutes. So then I started to rock and roll. As I said, if I wasn't working for the city of Toronto, I wouldn't have somebody in public health. If I wasn't working at the health clinic, I wouldn't know all the COVID rules and regulations. And then if I wasn't working here, I wouldn't have the opportunity and knowing through relationships the owner of the school versus just dealing with a principal.
I see Patrick, yeah, he walks with a box of Clorox. He has like a stack full of them. Like he'd always bring those up into the gym.
Then after we were done, he would then again get the Clorox wipes. Honestly, we had to wipe the whole gym, like the stands, the door handles.
Number 1, I'm trying to hoop, but number 2, I'm also like being safe. So Patrick just really just like making that mandatory was just really helpful, and just to know that, okay, he has our best interest. Like, I mean, you can't go wrong with Clorox. Like.
Then the last caveat was, okay, we're gonna move everybody in the dorms. So, I spoke to the owner, he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. This owner at this school is probably like a godsend to some of these kids, because when everybody else was sending their kids back home and they were doing remote learning, he kept all the kids here. Like if we were operating on a full season, so having, 15 girls, 15 boys living in the dorms, housing them, feeding them. By having the bubble, we would play against other teams that were in the bubble. So for us, we just adapted, and you know, for me, it was just finding out new ideas. Public health came here about 50 million times. People called, hey, they're playing basketball. Oh no, it's okay. They're living all in one cohort, it's okay. Some of our clinics, in our early part, we had 3,000, 4,000 people at times line up in lines for hours, wrapped around buildings. Every minute was very important. And one of our pride things was we didn't want to lose any vaccines, we didn't want to spoil any, we didn't want to turn anybody away. You know, we had our guy there who cleans for us there.
My name is Kenneth Tabner. I'm here as a cleaner, also a disinfector.
And one day I walked in, I seen him, he had this little water bottle, small steam mist sprayer. So I called Clorox. For him, it's a pride thing. It made our life easy.
I'm Cheryl Prescott. I'm the Executive Director at Black Creek Community Health Center. And ever since COVID started, we've been doing these community engagement events. Patrick Shaw has been, I don't know how to say it, but he's just a great supporter in this community. He's been around in the community running basketball programs, but youth programs in general. And one of the things that he brings to us is just that connection to a lot of the young people. You know, this community is known, you know, in the media, in the wider society as one that's riddled with gun violence, for example, and, you know, maybe not worthy of our attention, but because of partnerships with people like Patrick, we're able to bring a different light, like a really positive spin. Like today, you know, you can't ignore the fact that, you know, people are happy. They're normal people just like you and me. And, you know, it's because we believe in them, and people like Patrick believes in these young people. He gives them a chance. And without him, I think, you know, we would go off course.
I'm Dr. Mar, Project Manager at Black Creek Community Health Center. Patrick Shaw, just an amazing human being, you know, really, again, heart and soul, is always in the community and supports us always.
We got connected through chaos, right? You know, the unknown, the lockdown, people, you know, afraid, you know, and looking for a friendly face or a face that they trust, you know, talking about vaccines. We don't know the information, a lot of misinformation, and we're out there, you know, letting them know that it's safe, and also letting them know that it's okay to be afraid. If we set up a structure that the people in the community will come and help out and band together because it's for us, by us, you know, that kind of mentality.
He honestly just reaches out to anybody and just says, hey, like, I'm having this clinic or I'm having this event, like, if you want to come out and help, that would be very, you know, helpful. And I'm just like, yeah, you already know I'm going to be there, so.
She just flew in from Miami, and she's here. And that's one of the things we show these kids is that no matter how big you think you are, they still come back and help. You know, that mentality, you know, is lost. And we're trying to get that back in events like this, letting these kids know, and when they become adults, to come back and help out the community that you came from.
Nothing I do is by myself, because it's a collective. You know, every time somebody gives me something, I make sure that I give it back to, if not that person, somebody in their surroundings, because, you know, I believe in that positive energy. In some way, somehow, it'll work out. You know, it works. It works.